Now, one of the things that many people will actually become infatuated with when we train is when we're burning fat. As I mentioned previously, in fat burning side of things, yes, low intensity will burn your fat, but because when people start working out in terms of, right, I've done 300 calories and therefore 60% of that is my fat decrease, of which you're only, looking at about 180 calories, something like that in terms of burning your fat. You eat then technically like one donut and you've already just put all that fat back on in terms of the calories that you've lost, etc., etc. We all know that the only way to burn fat is being in a calorie deficit. If you're in the calorie deficit, therefore, once you've used your source for that day, so to speak, your body will therefore turn to fat and burn that, which means you then start to lose weight. One of the things that people get told about from different sources of personal training, we say, is this phenomenon called excess post-exercise oxygen consumption, or the fat afterburn, as it's like to be called, or something to that effect. I don't know, I don't really care, to be honest. The point is, it's a bit of a load of bullshit that people talk to people about, because you get told that you can burn up to 48 hours of continuation of fat and this, that, and the other. Well, yeah, you probably would if you're not really eating that much food and your body's there thinking, right, I need something to use this energy, so therefore it might turn to just the stores, and therefore people doing like a high intensity interval training session could be 15, 20, 30 minutes long, whatever you've burnt off. It's in that relatively high calorie count, yes, but the majority of that though is made up of carbohydrates, not your fat, and therefore afterwards, because of what you're doing and your body resuming itself, you do continue to burn calories, more so than the fact that the oxygen comes in, and you would therefore start burning fat on the assumption that you're not really eating that much food. The only misconception is that, how much then does this EPOC burn continuously? It's another myth in terms of how much it burns. People think it must be something like 50% or something like that. It's not. It's only really an added 6 to 15, and 15 being the max in terms of what I've seen to the researchers of people's papers and things, is up to 15% more. So if you've burnt off 200 calories, you're only looking at, say, 30 calories more after you've finished in terms of what you're burning based on that exercise. So you've got to sort of get into the mindset in terms of, right, if I want to get fitter, yeah, go out and do some running. There's nothing wrong with doing running, but bear in mind when you come back in terms of how much you sort of eat and what you eat and when you eat is pivotal to you not over consuming in terms of what you've just done, because you start playing mind tricks yourself saying, oh yeah, I've just done 500 calories and therefore I've just eaten this, so it's all fine. But you might eat a meal that's 700 calories, and therefore if you're not doing anything really for the rest of the day, you're not really moving around doing various bits and pieces, as in the non-exercise activity thermogenesis, where you're just picking up something, you're walking around the house, you're going up the stairs, you're coming back down the stairs, you're going in the garage, you're moving a few boxes. If you do that over like a 12-hour period, you can burn an extra 800 calories. If you finish your run or what have you, and then you just sit down pretty much for the rest of the day and don't really do a great deal, and you start eating, you're going to be in a surplus, which means all that extra weight isn't going to happen, all right, in terms of coming off. So EPOC is something. It is something which is, it's good in terms of any little extra helps, but it ain't going to be the be all and end all. And what you hear and what you receive from certain individuals, it might not be the truth. So my recommendation is look into a little bit further, like I did, and realize 5 or 6 to 15% ain't that much more. So if you want to be losing that weight, just do the right thing. That's something I should have. That's what I'm recommended, and therefore drop it by 10 to 15%, see how it goes. If it works, fat loss, job done. That would be EPOC seminar webinar Bosh. Sweet.